Batman, just like all of us, has moments when he has to make a choice that will cascade deeper into his future than he can imagine. Let's explore a different reality in 2008's The Dark Knight, a reality where Bruce turns himself in instead of letting Harvey take the fall. During the press conference, Bruce sees Harvey claiming to be Batman and thinks, "This is wrong. Harvey is Gotham's White Knight, not its Dark Knight. He is the one who can save this city without wearing a mask. He can't put one on now." Bruce takes a step forward, thinking of Rachel. He loves her. By taking his rightful place as the person behind Batman's mask, Bruce enables Harvey to continue his quest as Gotham's White Knight. Gotham might finally be a better city to live in, and hasn't that always been Bruce's goal? The whole point of the Batman? To lower the crime in Gotham? To make it a safer place to live? If Harvey can clean this city the right way, he and Rachel can have jobs as DAs anywhere in the country. Bruce knows that he cannot be the husband Rachel needs. His mind is traumatized from his parents' murder, and his body is weakening from his years fighting crime. By the time the battle with Joker is over, his body might not be the same. He can't let Harvey do this. He has to protect Rachel. He has to make sure that she has a safe city to live in and a promising future as a DA. Bruce approaches Harvey as the officers are putting cuffs on him. Harvey's eyes beg Bruce not to say anything. Bruce's gaze informs him that this isn't up for debate. As Bruce extends his wrist to be shackled, Harvey says, "I appreciate your funding from Wayne Enterprises, Bruce. I'm Batman," Bruce interrupts. The police and onlookers are confused. Harvey whispers, "No, don't make me prove it," Bruce quietly responds. Harvey backs down and Bruce Wayne is taken away in cuffs. Joker is watching the broadcast, and he's smart enough to know that Bruce Wayne is telling the truth. Everyone knows that his parents were gunned down in front of him as a child, so he has the motive to be a vigilante. Bruce Wayne also has the funding, and as CEO of Wayne Enterprises, he has access to fancy gadgets and vehicles, and he has the free time to be a crime fighter. Now that Joker knows who Batman is, he can end the game right here, right now. He'll prepare for Bruce's arrival at County with a show for him in Gotham. Meanwhile, Bruce is spending time in a jail cell, still dressed in his fancy suit and preparing mentally for the next battle. Gordon, whom everyone thinks is dead, will be driving the armored vehicle he'll be transported in. Bruce believes that Joker wants him dead. How will he attack? Bruce has to plan his next moves carefully. He saw how devastated Gordon's family was when they received word that Gordon was dead. He has to make sure that Gordon returns to his family, even if it costs him his own life. Alfred has been staying in Bruce's penthouse with Rachel. Since in this reality, Bruce never let Harvey take the fall as Batman, Rachel still loves and respects Bruce, so she never left his place, still believing that Bruce's penthouse is the safest place in the city. She and Alfred have been avoiding the media frenzy by ignoring the phone and door. Alfred had considered running away for his and Rachel's safety, but Joker would kill many people trying to find them, and they still believe that somehow they'll be safer there. But when Rachel and Alfred hear gunfire and screams loud enough to reach them in the penthouse, they look outside and see Joker and his men. Joker's group has shot the police protection, lit the police cars on fire, and are terrorizing reporters. Alfred saw the broadcast where the world found out that Bruce Wayne is Batman, and Alfred knows that he is the one Joker wants. Reporters are probably being held at gunpoint, and more people will die the longer he waits. So Alfred surrenders himself to them. Rachel has hidden herself in the panic room, but Joker knows she's somewhere in the penthouse. He and his men enter Bruce's home with a gun to Alfred's head. Rachel gives herself up to them to save Alfred. Bruce is escorted to the armored vehicle by police. Harvey counsels him on the way. "We're going to find a way to get you out," he tells Bruce. Bruce sits in the back of the armored vehicle and gives Harvey a coy smile before the doors shut. Hidden on board is a case that had been entrusted to Gordon while he was in hiding. Inside of it is a bat suit and some gadgets. Gordon knows to keep them hidden until the most desperate hour. When the armored trucks show up at County, they find a package on the doorstep. There's a card taped to the top, labeled, "For Bruce, open me first." There's a warning on it that if Bruce doesn't open it, people will die. The police and Harvey insist that they inspect it, but Bruce knows Joker will happily kill more people, so he opens it immediately. The note reads, "You need to choose. Choose between one life or the other, your butler or Harvey's blushing bride-to-be. If you don't make a choice on time, they both die. Turn on the tablet." Bruce's gut sinks. He opens the box. Inside is a tablet and 2 detonators. One detonator is labeled A, the other is labeled B. Bruce turns on the tablet and sees a split screen. On one side is Rachel, the other is Alfred. They are both bound to chairs with bombs strapped to them. Behind them are black curtains and signs. The sign above Rachel reads, "Save me, press A." Alfred's sign reads, "Save me, press B." A timer says he has 3 minutes to decide. Police won't be able to find them in time. The choice cripples Bruce with nausea. Does he choose Alfred, the man who's been with him since birth? Or does he choose Rachel and preserve any chance he might have with her, while also protecting Dent from madness? He'd seen Dent go hysterical when Rachel was threatened. What would happen to him if Rachel actually died? And what would he do if Batman pulled the trigger that killed his fiancée? Alfred is elderly, Rachel is young, but Bruce would never be able to sleep again if he pressed either button. Bruce falls to his knees and drops the box, knowing he can't bring himself to kill either of them. He'll lose them both, but he'll also know that Joker had killed them, not him. Bruce, sluggish with grief, can't stop Harvey as he races to grab the box and presses the detonator labeled A. Harvey falls to the ground screaming as Rachel explodes. Joker had switched the labels. Bruce's heart stops. Rachel's dead. Where is Alfred? Is he okay? Bruce hears the police radio. There was an explosion at his penthouse. He goes to the SWAT officer who's really Gordon in disguise and clutches his vest. "Please, I have to go there." Gordon pulls off his mask and nods, agreeing to give Bruce transportation to his penthouse. The officers around them are surprised Gordon's alive. Some are angry that they were fooled. Some of them resist Gordon's decision to drive Bruce to his residence, but he hastily reminds them that Bruce gave himself up voluntarily, so he could be trusted to stay with them. When they arrive at Bruce's penthouse, the entire top of the building is engulfed in flames. They wait for hours until firefighters have determined both Alfred and Rachel have died. They were tied up on opposite sides of the penthouse, and Alfred's bomb hadn't exploded until the flames reached him, but he would have been dead before then from smoke inhalation. Rachel, on the other hand, died immediately in the blast. Bruce is surprised when Gordon enters the burning building, but he's too numb to stop him. He stands in shock, leaning against a police car, his head hanging. A while later, Gordon returns and whispers to Bruce, "You were never Batman." Bruce looks at him confused. How will they give him an alibi? Batman died in that explosion trying to save your butler and friend. His body disappeared in the blast. All we found was his cape. He hands Bruce an empty case, and Bruce realizes that Gordon had thrown his batsuit into the fire. Gordon continues speaking, so quietly that only Bruce can hear him. Harvey was with us the entire time too, so his accounts can't be trusted. In a single breath, Bruce accepts that his entire world has changed. Rachel and Alfred are dead. Harvey will never be the same. Bruce had failed at the promise he'd made to his parents to clean up Gotham. He has to retire. If he reappeared as Batman, Gotham would know that he really was Batman, and who else might be killed to get to him? Lucius Fox? Fox's kids? Gordon and his family? No, he can't be Batman ever again. There would always be people that he cared about. And, he thought, looking up at his burning home, they could all die, just like Rachel and Alfred. Joker had won. Harvey is screaming in rage, hitting cop cars and throwing whatever he can find. He walks away, screaming with every few steps he takes. Gordon tries to follow him, but Bruce places a hand on Gordon's shoulder, stilling him. Both of them know that Harvey is unapproachable. What they don't yet know is that Harvey is now completely unhinged. He will spend every moment of his life trying to find Joker so that he can kill him, but he's not Two-Face yet. Now that the game is over, Joker kills off his help and leaves Gotham. He knows Batman's identity and forced him to quit. He broke him. He turned Harvey into a loose cannon. He broke Gotham's soul. Did you guys enjoy this? Would you like a part 2? I tried a new style writing this, getting more personal and up close in the story. I had a lot of fun with it, although it was the most challenging script I've had to write yet. Please let me know what you think of this video, or if you see events playing out differently. As always, keep weaving the threads of your stories.